a lady of so many accomplishments, and she lives out of Ghana, but she comes back to Ghana regularly. Welcome, Dr. Thelma Wright.
Thank you. Thank you, Uncle Fritz.
Thelma, this is fantastic, having you in the studio, and you're going to tell us your story.
I hope I can.
Yeah. You're a doctor, you're a lawyer, you're an activist, a women's activist or gender activist, you're a broadcaster, and what else? Have I skipped something?
I'm a mom.
And you're a mom.
I'm a mom.
The super vocation.
Yes.
Anyway, welcome to the program.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thelma, you live out of Ghana. Where do you live?
I live in Maryland. Maryland is a state in the United States.
And how long have you lived in the United States?
Oh, goodness. I left here in 1990. So doing the math, 35 years, I would say? Yep, 35.
That's a long time.
Yes.
And how often do you come down?
I come here maybe about 3 to 4 times a year.
That's very good.
Yeah, so I come here quite often.
So you're very much in touch with your family and the system in Ghana.
Yes, most definitely. Yeah, it's just such a joy when I come.
All right. Now, Thelma, you're Wright, which is a very famous family out of Cape Coast.
Yes.
Because I know of a Mr. Wright who was the bursar, I think, in Infantsman Secondary School for a long time. Any relation?
My grandfather,
Oh,
my
I
dad's
see.
father, yes.
Oh, so
Yes.
therefore you are a niece of the dynamic Wright twins.
Yes.
Yes.
They come after my dad.
Oh, I see.
Yes, Uncle Payne and Kakra. Yep, they come after my dad.
Super. So were you born in Cape Coast?
No, in
All
Accra.
right. Tell us about your early days.
It's been, I'm quite old. So I was more the nerd, you look at me, you probably wouldn't guess that I was, but I was more the kid who liked to read, kept to herself, and did a lot of reading. I love
So
books.
what schools did you go to?
I went to Thelma Parents.
Oh, I
My
see.
elementary school was in Thelma Parents. It was a sort of, I wouldn't call it international. It's called Thelma Parents Association.
Right.
And most of the kids, at least I knew, went to school there. And so, I think I came in class 1, and then I went through class 7, take the common entrance, go to Wesley Girls. I was there from 1 to 5, and then I did my 6th form in Wesley Girls too. So I did all 7 years up there. I went to Legon, but I only did a couple of years because I originally wanted to actually do medicine, and
Right.
I didn't get in because at the time it was very, very competitive. I believe they only had 2 med schools, UST and Legon.
Right.
Yes, so I didn't make the cut. So I was in biological sciences, and I didn't particularly care for it. And so when I had the opportunity, I traveled. It was actually on vacation. I wasn't planning on staying. And then, I came to find out I wasn't successful in one of my exams. So I decided to stay because I didn't really like what I was doing anyway. So what am I coming back to do? So I stayed.
So how do you make the transition?
How did I make it? What do you mean?
The transition from, student in Ghana, you've gone to America and you want to do medicine. Now, how did you get into medical school and all that? Tell us that story.
I know that's so I always say, yes, of course I was part of that transition, but God really probably knew what I was going to be, and that's why my life turned out the way it did. Because when I got there, I worked, I just did, jobs here and there, and then I decided to get serious, so I took the exam. And there was all multiple choice. And as you already know, over here in Ghana, most of the exams are not multiple choice, at least during that time.
No.
It was a lot of essays. And so with a multiple choice exam, I wasn't used to that. So I didn't really do well. And, bless his heart, this gentleman I met, I worked for him, actually paid for me to take a review course called Kaplan. So I'm giving Kaplan a shout out. So I took Kaplan. And so the next time I took that exam, I did quite well. And I actually was trying to pay him back, and he said, no, this is for you to do what you want to do. And I applied to medical school and got in.
So you went straight to medical
No, sorry. Of course, I did my undergrad,
Yeah.
and they were able to use credits from Legon. So I did my undergrad in 2 years instead of the 4.
What university was that?
It was universal. I did a bit of Montgomery College, and
Yeah.
then I finished up in a university called University of District of Columbia.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Okay. And then you went to medical school. What was it like?
You know, it was everything I wanted it to be. You know, that's what I wanted to do. And, you know, one of the reasons was from my uncle, who was a surgeon, one of the twins.
Yeah.
And he would always, when they would come to Ghana from the States, they would always say, you know, he would always say, I will, be a doctor, you know. So that always stayed in the back of my mind. And I knew that's what I had to be. And I just was so enthusiastic about it, engaged, because that's what I wanted to do.
Did they influence you?
I think so. I think my uncle did. You know, maybe subliminally, you know, you don't realize it, but you just get the influence. You admire him, and it's something you want to be when you grow up, and I did it. You know, my aunt was also a doctor. I don't know that of blessed memory, Auntie Henrietta. She also went to Wesley Girls, and she was a physician too.
I see. So you were able to go through medical school.
I did.
And what was life like in the States at the time? Because, I mean, it's a few years back. And you were in medical school, and, you know, life as a student in America is different from life as a student in Ghana.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about the differences and what were the culture shocks that you experienced?
You know, obviously I was a Ghanaian who had just come, and, you know, making friends wasn't, you know, it was very easy to make friends here because we all were the same. But then when you get to the States, it's a bit different. You have the African Americans, you have the Caucasians, and then, of course, you have the Africans. In med school, I think there were more African Americans than Africans. But then, you know, I made friends with most of the Africans, and I actually made some friends with the African Americans. But it was a lot of studying for me because that's what I was used to. So, you know, my very good friend, Nicole, she's African American. She would party hard and still study and do well. But I didn't know to do that. I would study. So that was me most of the time. You know, it was my books or home. And I didn't get to enjoy my life in those 4 years. It was study. I wanted to do well, and that's all I did. Just study and do well so I could move on to the next step.
So you graduated and became a doctor. So where did you do your internship and all that?
Yes.
And what was it like?
Yes.
Because that's a professional life in itself.
Yes. And, you know, interestingly, I don't know, I went to Howard University Medical School, which was a predominantly historically black college.
One of the best universities
One of the
in the
best,
world,
yes.
yeah.
So most of my colleagues were black. And then when I was applying for anesthesiology, which is what I specialized in, and then I did a subspecialty, I went to an institution called University of Virginia.
Right.
And I was the only person looking like me in my residency.
That's a lily white university, isn't it?
Right.
University of Virginia is known for that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so in my department, that was it, me. You know, and interesting, I mean, I picked that institution because everyone was so nice when I interviewed. I just was like, I'm going to come here. Everyone was so warm, and I just had to go there, and I did. And I had good training, and I had the best training, and I made friends, and, you know, I don't regret going there. And, you know, they made me a great anesthesiologist. And after I finished, I did pain medicine. And when I finished, I left. I left Charlottesville, such a small town. So.
When you talk about pain medicine, what is that?
So pain medicine is a subspecialty.
Like trauma?
No. So patients who have pain, whether it's cancer pain, headache pain, low back pain, whatever, we take care of you. You know, the primary care physicians don't. When they see a patient who has pain that has lasted longer than 3 months, that is chronic, and you send the patient to a pain physician, because then we can diagnose and treat it. Primary care physicians do primary care stuff. They're not supposed to treat pain. So.
Okay. So you've become a pain specialist, and what was your first job? Where did you have your first? Yeah.
My first and only job.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a loser. I stayed in the same job. This is my 19th year.
Okay.
So I actually applied to a bunch of hospitals, but I wanted, my parents, my dad was like, you need to go into an academic center. So I ended up taking the University of Maryland job, where I've been. And I got in there, interestingly, September 11th, 2006. And I got there, September, and 4 months after that, the chair of the department, offered me the position of medical director. Don't ask me. I think I was just in the right place at the right time.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. So I was sort of dropped into the deep end to, direct this big division, and I've been doing it this is my 19th year. So.
And how have you found it? I mean, dealing with people who have pain, have you been able to hold yourself up? Because seeing people in pain, if you've got any, if you're an empath, it will be very disturbing.
Yeah. It's hard, but I enjoy what I do. I'm good at what I do. And, the management of pain is not just medications. There's so many different ways of treating pain. Sometimes it's even mental. Patients may be in pain just from grief or from whatever, you know what I mean? So sometimes, I do have a pain psychologist in the practice, and sometimes we send patients to him to, evaluate them to see what's behind that pain. Because you may get x-rays and may not show anything. And you're wondering, why do they have pain when the imaging is negative? And you come to find out maybe this, that, and the other. So
psychosomatic.
You got it.
All right. Now, I'm going to take a leap back, because you mentioned that you went to a particular school, and that school has made a great impact on a lot of women in Ghana, and that is Wesley Girls High School.
That's right.
So how were your years in Wesley Girls? Tell me.
Amazing.
How did it form you?
Yes. I mean, all my good friends are from Wesley Girls. I can think of, any good friend I can think of was from Wesley Girls. And so that's really where I bonded with a lot of women who are now doing well. And, Achi, whose funeral I came to.
That is Mrs. Achampo.
Yes, Mrs. Achampo.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about her, because you just buried her. So.
Yes. Interestingly, when I was at Wesley Girls, I was under the radar. I don't think a lot of people even knew me. I mean, they probably knew of me, but I was pretty much under the radar. And Achi, I don't even know that she knew me. Of course, she knew everybody, but I never really interacted with her because I feared her. She was to be feared, okay, and respected and revered. And so I stayed away from her. I just didn't want to get into trouble with her. So when I graduated and left Ghana, years after, that's when I actually got close to Mrs. Achampo.
Tell us about that.
So I remember we have a Wesley Girls group in America, and
you would.
I'm sorry?
I said you would.
And someone reached out to me and said, Thelma, Achi's coming into town. Would you like to host an event in your house? And I'm like, oh my God, no, I don't know if I want to do that. I actually didn't want to do it because I was just like, I was a bit scared. I didn't know, because what I remember of Achi was this strict lady, and how am I going to act with her being around? But anyway, we ended up hosting it, and I got close to her after that. She was normal. She was not scary. She just like a mom. She has kids, and we bonded, and she would call me, because, I think she had some back pain. She would call me and we would chat about it. She went for physiotherapy. We'd talk, and she would call me all the time. She sent me cloth. We got closer just, before she passed, and, bless her. But I think I look at how strong she was as a woman, and I think I took a lot from her. I'm fearless. I'm confident. I'm not shy. I speak what I'm thinking, and I don't apologize for, and she had a lot of that. And I think a lot of the gay girls are like that.
I can see that, but I won't want to risk my neck. Anyway, we're on ZFM 101.9. The program is I've Got a Story to Tell, and my guest is Dr. Thelma Wright. Now, Thelma, you chose some music, so my right-hand man here, Emmanuel, what's the song? I Saw by Kwabra Kuda. Okay, hit it.
You're tuned in to Z 101.9 FM, your lifestyle, leisure, and business radio.
Oyanku It's your lifestyle, leisure, and business radio.
This is Z 101.9 FM. My name is Fritz Baffo, and the program on the air is I Have a Story to Tell. And my guest is Dr. Thelma Wright from the United States, but a Ghanaian through and through. So we went to Wesley Girls, and now we can continue with your American story. So what was it like? I mean, apart from your professional life, what was your social life like? Because you had to meet Ghanaians, African Americans. What was it like?
You know, it wasn't easy. You know, back in Ghana, you know, you have the helpers and you have the driver, and you everything is done for you. And it was a culture shock, you know, going to the States and having to hustle and find your own way, navigate the system. So it was not easy, you know what I mean? And, I'm glad I went through the process because, sometimes people...
But you were ready for it. In a way, despite the fact that you're talking about drivers and gardeners and helpers and things like that, you must have had some strength to hustle, to say, I can do this.
No,
it didn't happen.
No. I didn't. I was what you would call dadaba, right? Everything was done for me. I'm going to Wesley Girls. They dropped me off. They picked me up. Everything was done. You know what I mean? I was lucky, I had parents who were doing okay, so I didn't have to really struggle. And then to go to the States, and I had to live with a cousin, and, so it wasn't easy. It wasn't,
No, but what I want to ask you is, you're talking about dadaba.
Yes, that's what they'll call me.
Dadaba, to me.
Yeah.
Because I'm a dadaba too.
Okay.
But my parents were so strict. You had to do certain things. You had to live up to a certain form. So it wasn't just about the easy life. You had to behave yourself. You had to study. You know what I mean?
I did all that.
And you couldn't do certain things because they'll say, hey, you know where you're coming from. You know the family you're from and all that. That imposition is what I was talking about.
You're talking about principles then.
Yes, the principles, the morality, that kind of thing, the backbone.
No, that I got because I had parents who wouldn't let me especially my mom who raised me. But I'm talking about living alone and having to find your way when you're used to stuff being done for you. Even when I was in Legon, I wasn't working. My parents were taking care of me. Wesley Girls, I didn't have to do any of that. And then I go to the States, and now I'm by myself.
But you washed your own clothes.
I didn't wash my clothes in Ghana. I guess I did.
The floors.
Yeah, we did.
And you scrubbed the bathrooms and the loos and things like that.
But then I went to Legon. I didn't have to do any of that, right?
Really?
No.
In Legon?
No.
Who did it for you?
I think they had cleaners in Legon. I remember.
Well, the world has changed.
Yeah. I don't think we scrubbed the bathrooms. I don't remember doing that.
Okay, not in Legon.
No, not in Legon.
Yeah, so
you're right.
States,
Wesley Girls, we did do that.
Yeah, we're talking about the States. So you lived alone you hustled.
I hustled.
And how did you get the discipline to study? Because to become a doctor in the States is not an easy peasy thing.
It's not. And I always say, it was God, because I look back on my life and I'm like, wow, I would never have thought I would sit here and be interviewing, and I'm a doc, I'm a lawyer, I have an MBA. Like, it's too much, and I didn't even dream this. If you had asked me at 18, 19, where do you see yourself in 30 years? I couldn't tell you this. This is bigger than I expected. And I'm thankful. And I don't even know where I got the drive from. I don't know. I don't know. Because I wasn't like the one topping the class in Wesley Girls. No, I was average. Anyone would tell you. I wasn't, Thelma was okay. I went, I did,
but you didn't go to an average school.
I mean,
Because, we have to say it. The Wesley Girls is an exemplary school. And it's a superlative school. So if you're an average student in Wesley Girls, outside you may be right up there.
True.
So I think that though God played a lot of part in it, it was also your upbringing.
Maybe, yeah.
And that's what I wanted you to acknowledge. But that's your story, it's not my story.
Yeah.
Anyway, Thelma, so you worked in the States, and what was working life like in the States? I mean, you'd done your hustling bit as a student, and you'd gone into university in the States, you studied, and you graduated, and you got a job, all right? And, Europe and America, having a job is a very, very difficult proposition because there's a working system.
Yes.
That you can't dodge, you can't skive, you can't say today I'll slack.
No.
So tell us about it.
Yeah, so I actually do think that I always want to excel in whatever I do. So even with the little jobs I did, I did telemarketing, I did this, I did that, I would always be one of the best. So when I would, I remember I worked for a dentist, I was her front desk person. And I remember I would, make her schedule, but I would double book because I didn't want a situation where she was not doing anything. So every hour, instead of having 2 patients, I'll have 3. And if all 3 showed up, then she would just have to do it. And so I took that into my, just my work ethic. And so when I went to Maryland, I remember I would look at my schedule and I'm like, why do we have all these holes? Fill it, double book. And and I made sure I saw all of them, and they see that. They see, because at the end of the day, it's all about productivity, right? And taking care of patients. And I think they see, this is a hardworking woman. Never took off. When I was in residency, I got the award for not ever missing work for the 4 years I was there. Never called in sick, none of that. So, and I took it and I think that's why my boss offered me that job 4 months after I got there, because they see, the passion and the work ethic. And, so that was easy for me because that was me. I'm African. I work hard and I did it. I'm not calling in sick because of a headache, or I'm there. I'm present.
Talking about being African, at that time, do you ever think of coming back home to work?
No.
Why?
It's
part of your story.
It's part of my story. And I will say, when I became a paying physician, I actually got invited to come to Kolibu to, check out their pain management division, to see whether we could revamp it. And I came, on their ticket. I stayed for, I think, 5 days, and they gave me tours, of the, all the different departments. And then I went back and I wrote a long, I think it was a 25-page of what I saw and what they could do and what they could improve, and never heard anything back.
Oh, I see.
Never heard anything back. So I think that kind of discouraged me, and my personality just here, and I know, everybody's trying. It's just, I want things done like this. And I think you have to have a lot of patience sometimes. And I don't know that I have that. I have that to deal with it. So.
All right. So it gave you a decision of wanting to stay in the States. You think it's the right decision?
I think if I were to come here, I would have to have the equipment and the stuff that I can use to take care of the patients. I don't think it would be fair for me to use all that I've learned and be limited with resources that would not make me help the patient as well as I would if I was in the States. Meaning, if a patient comes in and I need to get an emergency MRI, I need to be able to do it.
Yeah.
If I need to do an injection, I need to be able to do it. And if I can't, I can't. No. I need to make sure that I can give the patient the best. And if I don't think I have the resources to do that, I don't know that it would be fair to me or to the patient.
Okay. So that's your professional life and the ethics that you you're absorbed and you're using right now. What about your social and family life as a doctor? And I mean, we're jumping from the professional side to normal day-to-day life.
Normal day-to-day
What was it like?
So I have 3 kids. My oldest is 25. She's in medical school, bless her heart. And the other 2, the second one is an undergrad, and the last one is getting ready to go to college. So I'm going to be empty next day. I'm single, so I don't have to, I'm not married, so I don't have a husband to deal with. But socially, because I'm doing so much, I don't do a lot socially because it's a lot of work, what I'm doing on the side with my podcast. I'm sure we'll talk about it. And of course, I wear a lot of hats. Not only am I the medical director of the pain division, I'm also vice chair of chronic pain and perioperative pain also. So it's a lot of hats I wear. So I'm always pulled left, right, and center. Even when I'm here, people are still texting me because I don't put off my email or anything. They can contact me. So so social life.
But
not much.
single mother, you've mentioned it.
Yes.
3 girls, and you're the mother. You're working. You're busy. You're focused. How was it like?
I was thankful, and I'm always thankful that I could afford to get a nanny. I don't know how single mothers do it. I mean, I give them props. Without being able to afford, I've had a nanny since Katie, who is 25, was a baby. And the nanny literally just left about a month ago. I've always had nannies. And so if I didn't have those nannies, I don't think I would have been sitting here because I was barely home. Especially when I was in law school, I had to go to work, and then after work, I go to law school. So my kids don't see me, and without help, I don't know how single women do it. Go pick up the kids from daycare and bring them home, and I don't know how, but I was able to do it because I could afford nannies. I was an absentee mom.
Well, it's a laudable thing that you've been able to do the things you want to do, and you've had the means to be able to help you in other aspects and facets of your life.
Yes.
Now, you just mentioned training to be a lawyer. Medicine in itself is difficult. And then you go and add law to it. What made you decide to go and do law?
I wanted to be different.
That's not a good enough answer for me. Tell me about it.
Actually, I remember when I told this story at another interview. I remember I had interviewed, when I was interviewing for med school at Howard, and the dean interviewed me. And we were I'm on an interview. Instead of keeping my mouth shut and listening to this dean, I'm arguing with this guy. And I'm arguing, and he goes, "You know what? Why did you apply to med school? You should apply to law school." So I'm like, okay, I'm not going to get in. There's no way I'm going to get in. Because he said, you need to apply to law school. But I got accepted in that institution. And it always kept to me, and I said to myself, one day, if I ever got the opportunity, I'm going to go to law school. Because so many people have told me, why did you pick medicine? You should have gone to law, and I did, and fortunately at University of Maryland, they pay. You get tuition remission if you go to a school that's a state school. So they paid for it 100%. So I'm like, why not? Why not take advantage?
So what were you going to do with the law? It's not the mere fact that your ego has decided that you argue a lot.
Yeah.
So why did you go and do law?
I actually specialized in medical health law.
Yeah.
Hoping that, I could have a side gig, and do some cases. But then the cases I was getting, I didn't need my law degree. I was an expert witness. Anytime anybody has a pain-related case, they call me. And I didn't act in the capacity of an attorney. It was more as a physician. However, having that law degree helped me tell them, you know what, you're not going to win this case. Settle or go to court. At least I could see that part. You know what I mean? Because, if it's negligence, it's negligence. I know the elements of negligence. But so I think that was the advantage of using me as an expert, because I know what to say. I know exactly what to look for when I'm reviewing these cases because I have the legal background. And I can see a case and say, no, don't even waste your money and get experts to take on this case. You're not going to win it. So I think that was the plus. And, even when I'm taking care of patients and patients threaten to sue me, I'm like, go ahead. I'm a lawyer. Go ahead. Let's see how far you go, so how to practice and avoid, being liable for anything.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you that because a lot of Ghanaians are not aware of that. That in America, the threat of malpractice hangs over most of the doctors' heads.
Yes.
Tell us about that, and
Yeah.
why that happens. Sorry.
We all have insurance.
Yeah.
I don't know about here, but you're required to buy insurance. Man, I work for a university, so they pay for our insurance. And so, patients know that and I don't even know that they go out there to sue physicians per se, but if you don't do it right, you would have to pay. If you injure a patient, you're going to pay. I don't know how much it happens here. So you look at a patient the wrong way, they're going to report you. They may not get to a suit, but then you go through all the trouble. You know what I mean? So you got to keep it clean. You got to document. And I always tell my trainees, because I train the next generation of pain doctors, and I say, if you did it, you write it down. Because if it's not in the notes, you didn't do it. Because if you say you did it on the right and the patient says, well, I have my pain on the left, and you have no proof that you did it on the right, the patient is right? So documentation is key, so that you can at least, they can use that if in the event that there's any lawsuit. And there's a lot of that. But lawyers are also getting very smart. They can tell which cases are just frivolous, that they won't take on those cases. Because if you're a plaintiff lawyer, for the most part, you're going to use your money up front, and then whatever you win for your client, you take a percentage. So most plaintiff lawyers are now very selective in the cases they take. They have to be quite sure they're going to win it.
Yeah, that's very exciting. I'm a doctor and a lawyer, and the two have meshed and are helping you with your your life.
Yes, and I got an MBA too.
You got an MBA. Now tell me why you have an MBA.
So
let's get on with your academic.
Let's get it out of the way. So I don't plan to stay in clinical medicine for the rest of my life. Right now, I'm hoping to get into sort of the C-suite, manage. I've done what I've done. I've done a lot. I've been chair of the medical staff. So I've done a lot within the hospital. So I think it's time to manage a hospital. And so that's where I think the MBA will come in.
All right. I'm going to ask you a very direct question. You're an African woman living in the United States. And we know that there are problems of racial discrimination in the United States. Have you had instances of that, and have you dealt with it?
Rare. It's not as overt. I think black men see it more. And I also believe that sometimes I think the way you comport yourself, people stereotype, right?
Yes.
And so when you enter spaces and the way you talk or the way you present yourself, I don't think you get a lot of that depending on how you put out yourself, right? So I will say I never really got a lot of that.
Did you put on a scary face for people?
No.
A little intimidated by
Probably. I've been told, my boss has told me I'm intimidating. But yeah, so I think it depends on the way you carry yourself. I mean, they may not like you, but they won't show it, So if you can sit at a table and speak, and make sense, and they know, she knows what she's talking about, I think that goes away, But obviously, if you walk into a store and you're black, they're gonna follow you around, unless So sometimes my daughter will say, "Mom, pull out your black card." I'm like, so they know you're not here to steal anything. Unfortunately, sometimes you have to do that.
The stereotypes are there.
Yeah, they're there.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, so
how
you
do
walk.
You handle that?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, obviously, when you go into a place where they think, what's she doing here? How can she afford this place? But they will still give you the benefit of the doubt. And usually, if someone is overtly racist by the way they serve, I would get up and leave. I'm not going to stay and eat your food. No, I'll get up and leave. But if despite that, they were really nice, then of course, I would leave the nice tip to show that, not every black person you see is broke or is here to act like they can't pay or find something wrong with the food so they can avoid paying. There are some people who we work hard and we're able to afford the things that everybody can afford, So yeah, I haven't gotten a whole lot of that, I will say. I think sometimes it's the way I carry myself. I really do believe that.
Super. This is I Have a Story to Tell on ZFM 101.9, and my guest is Dr. Thelma Wright, who's telling her story very beautifully here. Let's have a music break. Emmanuel? So people know you.
You're tuned in to Z 101.9 FM, your lifestyle, leisure, and business radio.
Yeah. Now we're getting on and I'm going to your size. Or jabo to leisure watasu. Master D with the and Winnie 5. Okradabena wabasu. Oto wabela o do. Tony Eddie, I'll bet you may show. Or cast a fly, Nico Greece, first class of a champagne 12, can create you the whole. Rocket to you and a top LV. A top you on a Versace. Double share machine, we are off a taxi. And I would the neighbor chef VIP back seat. Who was the care the Lambo? High time gear, we both to Santo. Would they be to a Numarin is a mango? Manentina said I take a graph for Yango. My one arm ball too. What else?
101.9 FM.
It's your lifestyle, leisure, and business radio.
Obama, are you working? Okay, tell me, are you still a virgin? Do you have somebody taking all your bedding? Have you been to take it to see a surgeon? Who was the KB that were counting? How did you make an afouti? Remember, Pia Benjabo Panty. If you are what you are, maybe auntie. Have you been to Dubai before? Are you doing soko? Jamapena koko. Keminema then why you bore? When they can't grow your wumpuna. Now will you be your china? My bodyguard and they found coffee and a cup of when your man and they will chew with them in pencil. What else?
Z 101.9 FM. FM.
This is ZFM 101.9, and the program is I Have a Story to Tell, and my guest is Dr. Thelma Wright. And Thelma's been telling us a lot of stories about her life in the States. We're talking about racial discrimination, and you talked about how you handled it. But is America a good place to bring up children? Because maybe you can handle it, but can your children handle the pressures of living in a country that can be semi-hostile?
Yeah, I mean, they were born there, so I think they are probably better equipped than I was, because I came from a country where everybody looked like me. And I got there, and, now you're meeting, white people. So it was a bit different, definitely culture shock. But I think with them, they grew up amongst all these different races and, just the diversity. We're not in a neighborhood where it's all one color. It's a diverse neighborhood. So they're used to it. They're used to dealing with, they have friends who are Caucasian, Africans, African Americans, the whole gamut. And even in college, Katie, med school, same thing. So I think they're better equipped. They don't have accents like I do. They were born there, so they can speak the lingo, and people can understand. Versus when you have your thick, they claim they don't understand, but no, they. So I think they're better equipped than we are.
And what about the touch of the whole motherland?
With them?
Yes. Do they speak Fanti, Ewe, Ga, whatever?
Yeah, they blame me for that one. And, I feel bad because I should have, because, my Asian friends, the Indians or the Koreans, they will speak their language to their kids because they're going to go to school and learn English anyway. And that's the one thing. But I wasn't home with them, and I was hoping the nannies would, but the nannies were trying to learn how to speak English. So even though I was saying, anyone can't, you should speak with them, speak the language, they weren't. They were speaking their broken English so they could get better. So my kids always blame me. They said, "Mommy, you should have." And I'm like, I know, but I wasn't home to speak the language with you. Yeah,
talking about language, you just told us about. You just said something in Fanti.
Yes.
that means that are you a Fanti? Because your name Thelma Wright. With the accent that you have now, somebody will think I brought somebody from the States.
Oh yeah, even though my Africans think I'm
where
not.
are you actually from?
I'm Fanti. I always say Cape Coast, but I think technically it's Elmina. I think my family resettled in Cape Coast, but I believe they're originally from Elmina. So yeah, I'm Fanti. My dad is Fanti.
Okay, so do you go to Elmina and Cape Coast?
I go to Cape Coast mostly.
All right.
Cape Coast.
And what does it evince to you when you go to Cape Coast?
I mean, I spent a lot of my summers there, vacation, because my parents would take me to my grandmother. So I would go back to the family house and I just reminisce, huge home and nobody's there. And I remember when all the cousins were running around and playing. And, my grandmother was a baker. So she, potosaba, she would have these little bread rolls for each of us. And it was just amazing times. And, definitely, I was at a fascia last year, actually. So. And my aunties were there, so it was lovely. It was lovely.
You enjoyed yourself.
I did. I wore the colorful stuff.
So you enjoy coming back to Ghana?
I do.
Okay. Now we've talked about school, your origins, and all that. But in reality, when we look at your bio, you're also an activist. Not only a doctor, a lawyer, but you're very, very much a gender activist. Why is that?
Activist is such a strong word.
All right.
I empower.
All right.
I like to empower women. I do. And I've just taken this huge interest in that. And, just with me, I didn't really have a lot of mentorship per se, except my mother and I would say maybe Achi. But even with Achi, it was just in recent times. And so I see that a lot of young women who could use mentorship. I currently coach at.
Why do you say that?
Just from
Don't
talk.
all children need mentorship?
I mean, yeah, I guess, but now
Why particularly women? And I'm playing the devil's
I don't know about
advocate
men.
here.
I don't have men. I don't have sons.
All
so
right.
I have daughters.
All right.
And so I see more girls and young women, and I speak to them all the time, and they do need mentorship. And I coach women in University of Maryland.
Yeah.
And
what exactly do you coach them about?
Oh no, we are giving a syllabus, and so it's 12 months long. They graduate from the coaching sessions.
Really?
So yeah, and it's about everything. It's about negotiation, how to negotiate for higher pay, because women don't do that. How to be the best version of yourself. How to get yourself in certain spaces. How to be confident. How to get over imposter syndrome. So we teach the whole gamut, and I'm able to tell my story, and they're like, wow, and I think it's been very helpful to the women I have coached, who are thinking of pivoting and they don't, or even asking for a raise. They don't even know how to go and ask for a raise, and, giving them the tips and the tactics to do that,
So you're helping women in the workplace more so than women outside the workplace.
Professionally and personally, I do all that because, I have the Diva Doc Let's Talk.
Right.
Yeah. So, professionally, I do it formally. But then when I meet, people write to me, people send me messages on Facebook, Instagram, wherever have you, because they know my story. Because I do interviews back home too, where, I go give lectures and, people would interview me. So I do that also. So people see it and they would reach out to me.
I'm going to digress a bit and talk to you about a problem that has just come up. For a long time, USAID was supporting the HIV program in Ghana. And now with the restrictions by Trump, that is also falling down the line. In recent years, we hear that the incidence of HIV is rising very fast in Ghana, which wasn't so. So what about sexual health? Do you do anything about that, you being a doctor, and how do you go about doing that and ensuring that women have a certain knowledge of how to protect themselves and how to hold themselves in that sphere of the world? Yeah,
I mean, clearly this would be, I think, is a public health issue, really, not just here.
Okay.
I'm a pain physician.
Right.
For the most part, primary care physicians are the ones who are going out there touting, safe sex practices like condoms, and condoms is that you have to use condoms. And I even tell my kids and anyone I meet, I don't care who you are, if you meet a guy, they need to come up with a gameter test to make sure they're clean. You just don't say, oh, because I dated them for 4 years, now I'm comfortable not using condoms. You got to know where they are. You just can't have unprotected sex, and it shouldn't be because you're afraid of being pregnant. It should be because you're afraid of getting a disease, because you don't know whether they have a disease or not. So I would urge women who are thinking of having unprotected sex because they've been dating a guy for the longest to go have the gamut: hepatitis C, HIV, herpes, all of that, hepatitis B. Let them bring. I would do that. I do that, but you have to let them do that and see it. Make sure they're clean before you start thinking, let me have sex without protection. Even those getting married. Just because you're getting married, you don't know the status of the guy. And, guys, too, ask the woman to get tested before you think of even doing that. I'm sorry. I feel very strongly about that.
Yeah, it's a very powerful statement. I'm glad you're saying this.
Yeah.
Because, here we are on ZFM 101.9, and the ZFM is about lifestyle, leisure, and business. And lifestyle, leisure, and business all sort of interpose.
Yes.
So it's something that, that was a sideline, I guess, because you're
no,
a doctor,
I can tell you right.
And I
yes.
wanted you to say something.
No, I have men not call me because I said, if we ever dated, you will be giving me your lab results. They're not interested in doing that. And that's okay, too.
All right. We'll have a break, music break, another music break, and then we'll talk about the social work that you do.
How much longer do we have?
Quite a long time.
What? This is very tight on my ear. Yes. It's very uncomfortable. I think it's because of my earrings. Are we still taping? We're not, right?
You're tuned in to Z 101.9 FM, your lifestyle, leisure, and business radio.
Can promise, yeah.
Cute beats, let's go.
Oh, na, yeah. Me say I do me, sure me, You know we say I be better past anybody. And say we sure, and your boy, no. See, so when the hustle know they make chance pass me by. So make you do your best and use your sense. I show the stress since I put God first. Charlie, it no be race, it no be test. And your guide to no one contest. Yeah. So make you tell them. So we do come, no the fear them. Baba God did for my side, so no shake.
Yeah, when you're media, on Chonko na Hondo. On any CCTV, Davy and anyone me so. Even if I walk through the valley of death, I know the fear. Every day be your guide. Yeah, when you're media, on Chonko na Hondo. On any CCTV, Davy and anyone me so. Even if I walk through the valley of death, I know the fear. Every day be your guide. So
make you no cry, Say you go be, make you still try, You my drum on the year with me, gosh, no good way. My petty make you no cry, still try, Say you go be, make you no cry, You my drum on the year with me and die. I don't mean a song, I don't mean a dimmy, I don't mean a dimmy, team in China, cheetah. Don't mean a song, I don't mean a dimmy,
101.9 FM.
Yeah, when you're media, on Chonko na Hondo.
Z 101.9 FM.
This is Z 101.9 FM, and the program is I Have a Story to Tell, and my guest is Dr. Thelma Wright, who's a doctor and a lawyer, and she says I shouldn't call her a gender activist because it's too powerful, so I'd say a gender empowerment, isn't it? And before we listened to King Promise and CCTV, she was worried about her earphones, and we've solved that. So if you're out there and you're worried about Thelma's ears, she's cool now. Thelma, now you're a professional. As I said, you're a doctor, you're a lawyer. You've got an MBA because you want to manage a medical facility and all that.
Yes.
You're a mother, and so we've talked about your children and all that. And you're into other things.
I am.
You said you're helping with empowerment. You gave us some very good advice about how to handle your one's sexual health in terms of relations and things like that. And that's part of it. So you've got a podcast.
I do.
And I think you have other social tools that you're using.
Yes.
To facilitate what?
So the podcast is called Diva Doc Let's Talk. And, I gave myself the name Diva Doc because, historically, when you see a doctor, you think of nerd. And you look at me, you don't think nerd. At least I don't think so. So I added the diva to the doc to say, not all docs are nerds. We have a life too. And, I think because of, what I have done thus far, I get a lot of, you should have a podcast and talk about your life and, to inspire other women, which I see where they're coming from. But you don't have a podcast to talk about yourself, right? You have a podcast to help other people or to teach other people or to inspire other people. So what I decided to do was rather find ordinary women with extraordinary stories and highlight them and uplift them and have them tell their story to inspire other women. And that's how Diva Doc Let's Talk was born.
So who have you talked to?
Oh, wow. So we just launched December 30th, 2024, which was my birthday. So we launched the first episode. So I shouldn't say most, all of them have been pre-recorded. And we're now releasing them every 2 weeks. So I interviewed the owner of Buka Restaurant, Audrey Salome. I interviewed Nora Bannerman, who is...
fashion designer.
Yes, you got it. Yep. I actually just interviewed Nanama McBrown. She has an amazing story, and we'll hopefully drop it in a couple of weeks. I've interviewed some Nigerians in London. I've interviewed a couple of superstars' mothers. I've interviewed a lady who is a nurse but started this drive to collect shoes for kids in South Africa who have no shoes. I haven't shown her podcast yet. I've interviewed academicians, architects, the whole gamut. I even interviewed a lady who didn't have formal education, but now has 2 hair schools. Her name is Auntie Alice. That episode was powerful. And she started braiding at 6, and now she has...
In the States or in Ghana?
Here. Yeah, most of the people I've interviewed are Ghanaian, or I should say African.
Right.
But we will start interviewing in the States soon when I get back.
That's super.
Yes.
So... when is your podcast out?
So the podcast came out December 30th, 2024.
Yeah. What is it?
So it's every other Monday.
Okay.
So every other Monday on YouTube, we drop an episode. And so usually it's at 12 p.m. American time and 5 p.m. UK and Ghana time.
And how do you have the time for that? Because naturally, you've got to do some research.
I have people who do the research for me.
Oh, I see.
One of them is sitting back there. 2 of them, I think. I'm not sure who's sitting back there, but I know Ikwa is there. So, we meet Sundays and talk about potential guests. And then I would say I want to see a synopsis to see, because it's not just someone in the limelight.
Is it on Zoom or you meet face to face?
Oh, I go to them. I have a
see.
set, and we either go to the guest or the guests would come to me. Most of them would prefer us to go to them, so we go to them. But some have come to me, to my set.
Now, the question is, why are you doing that podcast?
To inspire the next generation of women. I think a lot of women do not realize their full potential. I mean, I don't even think I'm there yet, and I've done enough, but I still think there's more in me. And I do think that hearing the stories of these women I interview, women even men who listen to the podcast will get inspired and know that there's more than, okay, I got my undergrad degree. I got my job. I'm fine. I'm not. Keep going till you can't anymore. I did law school at 40 something, and I did my MBA at 50 something, and I was fine. I was fine. So it was a bit difficult, but I did it. So it can be done. Don't let age, limit you. Because I always tell people when they say, aren't you too old to go to. I'm like, I'm still going to be 54. So I'll be 54 with an MBA versus 54 without an MBA. So what's the big deal? Even when I was going to med school, aren't you too old for med school? I'm like, well, in 4 years, I'll be an MD. I'll still be Thelma, who is at 30, whatever it was, so yeah.
Now, the state of women in Ghana, you're an outsider. You come often. So naturally, there's some element of crunch time with the women. Do you think that the society treats women well?
In this country?
Yeah.
What do you mean society?
I mean, in Ghanaians, this environment,
We had a little bit of discussion out there, didn't we? Maybe I'm too westernized, because I think that if I lived here, I probably would rub. But I've noticed that a lot of women are actually, I think in this day and age of social media, I'm seeing a lot more women who are bold. Because when I used to live here, so I'm comparing when I lived here.
You're right.
You now I think it's different. But before, during my, women should not be heard, right? I didn't think we were heard. Women would stay despite, But now I think women are getting their power and they're saying, no, we're not taking this. You cannot do this and get away with it. You know what I mean? And we're not staying at home taking care of kids while the man goes to work or goes to the farm. We're working too. So if we're not expected to be in the kitchen, no, I'm not going to the kitchen if I'm tired. We go out to eat. You know what I mean? But to be expected to have kids and take care of the kids and cook and clean and do that while the man...
On your own. Because...
the man won't help.
The man can, on your own. No, I think that...
Now the man will help.
Yeah, a lot of men help.
Yes, and they will cook now too.
Yes.
Before it never happened.
Well, I can't say that because I've always cooked.
Oh, good for you. Your wife was lucky.
Well, try telling that to her. I am sure she'll tell you that. That's nonsense. Yeah. Anyway, so we're talking about now. You mentioned the change in the dynamics. Women are now working. A lot of them are working in positions that were formerly restricted to males and things like that. Mm-hmm. And so naturally there'll be an effect or an impact on the society that we have now.
Yes.
All right, because there are going to be challenges and occasional little crashes of ego and other things.
Yeah.
What's your take at that?
I mean, I think that, I saw a little bit of, when I think some woman, I don't know where they were, but had said something to a guy not to be silly, and it became a big deal. Like, why did she say? And I don't even think she was actually insulting the guy. It was just saying the action was silly, not you were silly. And it was such a big deal. And some, I think, some people were for her and some people were against. But I think people should be able to say what they feel. I mean, not to the point where you're rude or impolite, but I think it's okay to be authentic and say how you feel. And I see a lot of that. I just see a lot of people who don't say how they feel. And you leave people to assume, and that doesn't make for it just doesn't make for anything good, to be honest with you.
Well, my take on that is that it's a cultural thing.
You think?
If you tell somebody in Ghana, don't be silly, they don't take it in the context of what you're saying, don't be silly. They think it's an insult.
That's not my problem that you think it's an insult. I wasn't insulting you.
Yeah, but culturally, the person would understand. And I think sometimes you have to have a certain respect for the cultural mores.
You're speaking English. It's not Chi. It's English. And for educated people on the cabinet, you would think they're educated enough to know the difference.
I'm playing the devil's advocate.
No, this is no devil's advocate.
Yeah, all right, I understand.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
These are top-notch people. They should get it.
They should get it in a Western way.
Yeah, well, I would say it's English language. And if we're speaking English and someone says, don't be silly, we're not saying you're silly. We're saying your actions are silly. Period. We're not insulting you.
Yeah.
At least that's my take on it.
Well, that's your take on it.
Yes.
Anyway, so you're talking about the role of women in our society now. We've just very fortunate to have a lady vice president, and I don't want you to start
Wesley Girls.
preening because it's Wesley Girls.
We're all over.
So,
I'm sorry.
So what do you think about women, the role of women in the management of our society through the medium of politics?
Yes. You know, in my humble opinion, I'm a woman, you know, and so I'm going to be a little biased, but I think women are more organized. I mean, look at me. I had 3 kids. I was a single mom. I did medicine. I did law school, this, that, and I did it. And I was the most productive, volume-wise and dollar-wise, for the hospital, not for myself, when I was in law school. My boss told me, he said, Thelma, you did more production while you were in law school. How did you do? I don't know. And maybe because I didn't want anyone to say, oh, because she's in law school, she's slacking. So I probably did more than I would. And so it's a good thing that we have more women in positions of power here. I think things are going to be great. Maybe one day you have a female president. But I honestly think that things are going to be good. Women are more organized. They can multitask. And we've done it over the years. And so it's going to be great. It's going to be great.
Well, I'd be glad if we have one president one day. I have no qualms about
It'll be Bridget.
the power
Bridget,
of
vote
women.
Bridget.
Oh, you're talking about Bridget Jogunuku.
I interviewed her too.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, I did. We just dropped her episode.
Well, that's a very good friend of mine. Her father was my very, very good pal.
Oh, wow.
And she went to Wesley Girls, and she makes you know it.
Of course. We do.
Anyway.
We sure do.
Okay, let's have a music break. Okay.
You're tuned in to Zed 101.9 FM, your lifestyle, leisure, and business radio.
Obama come the da no ana me pill. Become and give me sugar. You could me crying when your mind. What am I feeling super? You could me crying when your mind. For life, baby me and you for life. If you die, I die. Baby me and you for life, baby me and you for life. If you die, I die. Baby, me and you for you. Baby, I'll be there for you. Baby, I'll be there for you. For you. Baby, I'll be there for you. Baby, I'll be there for you.
Zed 101.9 FM.
See, my wife is a body. Nobody can judge me. And we outside for the money. I go fight war for the body. The way she do me like magic. I can't deny she's a body. Now girl, this swag I said Cardi B. We rendezvous for love. So na mami chuma ye me do. Obama come on the da man me do. Baby, come and give me sugar. You could me crying when you're mad. What do me feeling super? You could me crying when you're mad. For life, baby, me and you for life. If you die, I die. Baby, me and you for life, baby, me and you for life.
It's your lifestyle, leisure, and business radio.
For you. Baby, I'll be there for you. Baby, I'll be there for you. For you.
Z101.9 FM. I say 101.9 FM. And the program is I Have a Story to Tell. And I'm your host. My name is Fritz Baffo, and my guest is Dr. Thelma Wright. Out of Cape Coast, now living somewhere in the eastern seaboard of the United States of America.
Yes.
We're talking about, we talked about empowerment, we talked about women going into politics, and you prophesied that one day we'll have a woman president, and I don't doubt that. Now, let's talk about something that is very sensitive to many Ghanaians. A few years back, the former American Vice President, Dr. Kamala Harris, came to Ghana, and she upset quite a few people when she talked about LGBTQ plus.
Yeah.
And after the elections, when Dr. Donald Trump won, I found a few Ghanaians cheering, and I said, why? And they said, the LGBTQ plus thing that she tried to impose in Ghana is vanished because Trump is against it. Now, when my in-laws came to Ghana for a birthday for their mother, I found out that two of my brothers-in-law were vehemently against Biden and Harris. And I asked why. And the only reason was the LGBTQ plus. And they're saying they're scared for their children because peer pressure would send them doing something. What are your thoughts on that? I know it's a controversial thing, and I don't want to put you in hot water.
No, trust me, there's no question I can't answer.
Right.
I may give you the politically correct answer. No, but, when I was in Ghana, it wasn't rampant here. I remember, we would have guys like Kojobesia, we'd call them Kojobesia. So it begs the question, are people born with it? They may be. I think some become gay socially, but I also believe that there are some people, because sometimes I can see a kid and I'm like, okay, this guy is
effeminate.
Yes. And I think he may end up being gay, so it is possible that some are genuinely born with it. They can't help themselves. I know that, in the Bible, it says a man should be with a woman and all that. But I really
That's a moral issue.
I don't even know if they say it's in the Bible.
Yeah, but the Bible is about morality.
Yeah? Okay. Yeah. So I do honestly believe, and, in this day and age, our kids, don't you dare gay bash. My kids will not talk to you, okay? So, especially, as being African and all that, you just can't around these kids because they are taught to be accepting of everybody, whether it's creed, race, religion, whatever. Everyone is included. So, and because of the environment I live in, it's acceptable. I have friends, they're the best. I have gay friends, and they're the best. They're married and all that. And
when you say they're married to each other.
Yes. Okay. They're married to each they're married to each other. Yeah. Yep. And they have kids. They get surrogates and they have kids. I know it may never be legal here, but obviously it's legal. I guess it's not anymore, but yeah. I don't know too much about it to say yes or no, whether I agree with it or not. But I do believe that some people are born with it, and I can't judge,
So another aspect of that thing is the equation of gay rights with civil rights, the racial equality. Because there are a lot of purists in the who are racial activists, you're black activists who say you can't equate the two because they are different.
Yes.
What do you think about that?
I agree. You cannot equate. We cannot help. Well, you can't to an extent. Meaning we cannot help the color our color.
Yeah.
We didn't make ourselves, right? You can turn yourself light by using creams, I guess. But you were born black. We can't help it. So if there is any truth to people being born gay, then yes, they can't help it either.
Yeah.
And that then they should be equated to. But those who socially become that, that's where I have a problem with, especially those who go off as heterosexual when they're actually homosexual because of culture. And that's why I think that we can never really say, we can't be not accepting of it, because that's when people hide and do that and give diseases and do all that, the down low stuff, because they can't come out, so.
Well, I'm very glad of your honesty. I just want to touch on it because
I'm very honest.
It's not everything that we talk about on Ghanaian radio.
Oh, you can talk. I even wanted you to talk about medical cannabis. I will talk about it.
I'm going to go there too. One of the problems we have in Ghana is the high unemployment among the youth. And all kinds of things are coming up that are opportunities for us to resolve that problem. For a long time, cannabis was illegal.
Yes.
All right. Even medical use of cannabis was illegal. Then some countries started legalizing cannabis, the use of cannabis, but they didn't allow the importation of cannabis. All right. But if they've legalized cannabis and our country can have a discussion with them and we can talk about exporting cannabis to them, we'll make quite a lot of money.
Oh my God, totally.
So I'm when you mentioned cannabis, I said let's talk about this.
I mean, if you're looking for a woman to come and lead that, me.
Yeah, right.
Me. So tell your president.
What are the advantages of
oh my God, so much. I'm a pain. I'm a pain physician.
Right.
And a lot of people are dying from opioids, the narcotics, the morphine.
We've just had a case of that. But explain opioids, because you are into pain medicine. Opioids are legal if they are
prescribed
to you. Yes.
But
they can be overused.
Yes.
Wrongly used or whatever.
Yes.
So talk to us about that.
So opioids are in the pain medicine field, there are so many different medications you can work with. However, a patient who has had pain for a long time would have tried all those other medicines, and then eventually they end up with stronger medications like opioids, which are also called narcotics. So these are medications like morphine, oxycodone, Dilaudid. Those are strong narcotics, and we prescribe them to patients. Unfortunately, you can get these kind of things on the streets too. So heroin is an opioid.
Yeah.
And sometimes when patients are not able to get legal prescriptions from a doctor, they will take the street heroin, and they can, push it and die. So now there's been a push away from prescribing high doses of opioids for our patients. So when a patient is on high doses and I have to bring them down, what do? I offer them medical cannabis. I'm like, okay, I'm taking your opiates away, but now cannabis is legal. So you're telling me you can't sleep, you have problems with sleeping, get some medical cannabis. It's going to help you sleep. Patients are telling me they're sleeping better. They're eating, cancer patients who are able to eat better because they're taking cannabis. You know what I mean? So there's so many different, and studies have been done, especially the cancer and the anorexia and the HIV and now pain, multiple sclerosis. It's helped with a lot, seizures, libido, so, erectile dysfunction, instead of the Viagra, which can cause sudden heart attacks, maybe try some medical cannabis, and so now it's in Maryland, recreationally legal. So you can walk into any dispensary and get it, or, you can get it medically. The medically is a bit stronger than the recreational, but yeah, it's legal now. And they're making a killing. The government is making a killing. So you guys need to think about it, because you will be able to be debt-free,
Yeah. But I'm going to warn people out there that...
Oh, no, you should start medically. No, you should start medically.
Can't do that here.
What do you mean, can't do? I said I'll come and manage it for you now.
This is I Have a Story to Tell on ZFM 101.9. My guest is Dr. Thelma Wright, who who's also a lawyer, and she's got an MBA. She has a podcast. She's a mother.
Yes.
She's told us wonderful stories all the way from Thelma right through Maryland, through Howard University, and now she's in Ghana doing some work on a podcast which is called Diva Doc. Am I right?
Let's talk. Diva Doc, let's talk.
Oh, Diva Doc, let's talk. It rhymes, doesn't it?
I know. Yep.
Yeah. Now, you're in Ghana. How easy is it for you to come back home, and what are the pluses and minuses that you've seen so far?
The pluses, I'm home, right? I'm home. And when I'm here, I don't work here. So when I'm here, it's sort of almost vacation mode. So I'm not really working. The stressors, the only thing is I don't get to work out when I'm here, because back home I work out like crazy, but I don't have a gym anywhere near me where I live here. But other than that, it's good. I see friends. I'm on vacation mode. I don't have to deal with the stressors. The negative, traffic. Traffic, that's the big one.
You're talking about Accra.
Yeah, that's the big one. Anywhere you're going, you're running late, people are waiting or you're waiting. Something has to be done about the highways and the roads, and the traffic. It's ridiculous. If there's an accident, people could stay in traffic for hours. How do you get anything done with all this traffic? I don't know. I don't know how you guys are going to get around it.
So that's a big minus for you. You're not talking about sanitation.
I'm not done yet.
All right.
Where I live, there's no problems with sanitation.
All right, go on.
I'm good. But the health, and that's, you ask the question, would I come back?
Yeah.
When I hear some people die from almost nothing, and they die, and I'm like, why? Oh, they had this surgery, post-op infection, they die. How? You know what I mean? And that's why I said, if I don't have the resources, there's no way I can come and practice here. Because to imagine if I say I want a lab and I can't get the lab within 2 hours, that's no. So we need to focus on the medical care. We just need to do that. You don't have ambulances?
We do.
Okay, but the traffic, how can you go get somebody? You should have helicopters or something, I don't know.
Expensive.
Yeah, but something's got to give. So how do you transport patients who are dying of a heart attack? They're going to die. Stroke, you're going to die because you're not going to make it because of the traffic. So roads and medical are the two big ones.
Well, when you talk like that, then there is a need for preventive medicine and the kind of awareness of health conditions and how to deal with them.
Agreed.
So,
Yeah, agreed. And preventative, yes. However, you got to, there has to be definitely public information that's put out, right? So people should go for their annual mammograms. People should go for their pap smears. People should go see their doctors. I see my doctor twice a year because I'm paranoid. I want to know what my HbA1c is, which is a marker of diabetes. Even though I don't have a history in my family, I want to know because I know Christmas time I ate a lot, so I want to see where it's. I don't want to be shocked with it down the road. So I see my doc twice. I tell them what labs I want, and he runs the labs, and we check.
But you have the privilege
of
knowing.
I do.
But the woman out there selling kilewili or sitting by a gutter, all right, doesn't know this.
Yes.
How do we get around it? Because, you see, most of the information is directed at people who know. It's the people who don't know, who don't have the way of doing it.
You're going to get your people to get in trouble with me, or they're going to be upset with me. I don't think, I'm going to beat on your government a little bit. They care about those on the street selling the kiliwili and the kinky. It's not only the middle class and the rich people who matter. Those people on the streets peddling You need those mics going out there to tell them, go to this clinic and get checked and find a way to get them. But you're leaving them to perish, and you're dealing with only the middle class and the high class who can afford it. That's not fair. That's not fair. You got to put money into public health. You got to put money in there and get out there to the Makola and the Circle and all that and get those people on the mics. Go and do it. And these are the clinics you can go to, and it should be free. But where is the money going? It's all wrong. Man, I should be president. Seriously, you need to you need to put monies there. I mean, these people are dying at 50, 60 because they didn't get the health care they needed. And then when you go, they want you to go and buy the blood and the saline. And I mean, how? No. And there's no ambulance. People are dying because they didn't have an inhaler. No. That's unacceptable.
Well, I'm going to thank you for taking a pot shot at those in power.
Oh, yeah.
We're not being partisan here.
Yes.
Anyway, this is ZFM 101.9. It's Dr. Thelma Wright who is speaking to you right now, and she's going where the eagles dare. So, Doc, yeah, we do have a problem in the way we handle our health delivery systems in Ghana.
Yes.
You have had the opportunity and the privilege of working in a better system.
Yeah.
What would you suggest to your contemporaries and colleagues in Ghana? Because naturally, do you talk to the doctors here?
I mean,
do you go to the hospitals?
I do. And I think a friend of mine is actually in a position of power now, Victor Bampo.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so hopefully Victor would do well by the people where you provide, clinics, free clinics. Well, the problem is I don't know whether every single Ghanaian has a card.
No.
They should. You see, I think that's how you're able to collate data. If every single person, you move around with mobile cards and make sure everybody has a card, then it's easier to know where everybody is and know where they live, so you can put them in clinics and do that. It can't be that difficult. You know what I mean? You guys do census, don't you?
Yeah.
So if you
every
do
10 years.
10 years. Well, 10 years. I mean, maybe they should do another one.
That's the way it's done.
Yeah.
I mean, national. It's a very, very expensive process. So, it takes 10 years to prepare. You get the stuff. It takes about a yearly term for the results to come and for you to do the things in terms of demographics and all that.
Yeah.
But right now, we're talking about solution of problems, and we're not talking about your story.
Yeah.
So let's get back to you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm happy to talk about this. My story is done.
It isn't done. Because you're going to tell us about you're in Ghana now.
Yes.
When you go back, what are you going to do? What do you do when you go back?
I go back to work.
You go back to work.
Yes, I mean, it's like night and day. I come here, you see me talking, and I'm a different person. I go back home, back to work, wake up early, 6 o'clock, and go to work and do my job and come and go to the gym and come home. That's my life. And go to sleep at 1 a.m. every day or 2 a.m. and wake up at 6. It's crazy.
You only sleep for 4 hours?
I need to change that. It's hard. It's hard. But I think, I need to change that.
Won't that have a toll on your health?
I mean, so far, so good. I'm good. So far, so good. I mean, so far, I'm good. But it's just, I don't have enough time in the day. I go to work and, phone calls, this, that, and the other. And then I don't finish my notes and I have to get my notes done. So I go to the gym, spend 2 hours there, then I go home, finish my notes, eat dinner, take a shower. And by the time, 1 o'clock.
What about social life?
None.
Dancing, music?
0.
Men?
If you have any for me?
No, I don't.
Oh, damn. All right, in case anyone is listening, okay. Anyway. I'm eligible.
Really? Okay. I asked for a special request.
Okay.
Because you have Elmina connections.
Okay.
And one of the greatest musicians out of Elmina was... We're going to play Ajwa Yankee.
Okay.
CK You're tuned in to Z 101.9 FM, your lifestyle, leisure, and business radio. 101.9 FM.
Hey, are you a Yankee? Hey, Agna Yankee. Hey, are you a Yankee? Hey, are you a Yankee for wait, yeah, me? Are you a Yankee for wait, yeah, me? Are you a Yankee? Hey, are you a Yankee? Yeah, are you a Yankee? Yeah, are you a Yankee? Hey, are you a Yankee for wait, yeah, me? Are you a Yankee for wait, yeah, me? Yawoku na wone wo, yawoku na wone wo. Yawoku na weje wo, yawoku na weje wo. Wone wo, weje wo. Yawoku na wone wo, mianu na wari so babo ai. Yawoku na wone wo.
It's your lifestyle, leisure, and business radio.
Z 101.9 FM.
Ajua Yankee by CK Man, the band from Almina who played in Sekendi Takradi. And that song is one of my favorite songs, and I played it for you as a surprise.
Thank you.
Now, we've been talking to you, Thelma Wright, doctor, lawyer, mother, MBA, podcaster, you know, a debutante, as they call the girls from Wesley Girls, and all that.
Yeah.
You were talking about women's empowerment.
That's right.
And you've got a vehicle for doing that, and you teach it. What are your plans? Because I think that whatever you have, you could do it in Ghana.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
So
Totally.
what plans have you got for doing that? Because let me also say something to you. You've also got a lot of friends from Wesley Girls in
Yes.
very powerful positions.
Yes.
The Chief Justice is from Wesley Girls.
Yes.
The Vice President is from Wesley Girls.
Yes.
A lot of the MPs, including the dynamic Zanetta Rawlings, is from Wesley Girls.
Yeah, Gizzy Tete.
Gizzy Tete.
Yeah.
And also the great Bridget Jubunaku.
Yes.
Are all from Wesley Girls.
Yeah, Nanoye.
Yes. Oh God.
So many.
On
Yeah. We're taking over.
Okay. So what are you doing in getting them all together so that you can do this thing about empowering not only women or girls, but some of the boys too, because boys also have to get some kind of
That's your
empowerment.
job. That's your job.
I don't
You're a
think
man.
so.
That's your job. Because a lot of people are like, why don't you men? I'm like, I'm doing the women's. Find someone to do the men's.
No, that's too parochial.
No, because I have lived in a woman's body.
Yeah.
So it's hard for me to empower men, but I will tell you, some of my listeners, or a lot of my listeners are men.
Yeah.
They watch the show
Yeah.
because they have daughters. And I've had them text me and say, I'm going to let my daughter watch this because it was a lot of good stuff that you talked about. So I think it can cross gender.
Yeah.
But I'm focusing because I'm only interviewing women. I want to, even yesterday I had a meet and greet. I wanted all women. I got a sax player who was a woman. MC was a woman. I wanted an all-woman crew. You know what I mean? But yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I mean, all right, I had a very influential father. But a lot of the things that I do that I'm proud of come from my mother. Because women have a knack of, as you said, they're more organized.
Yes.
And so therefore, they have a stronger influence over men than most men themselves.
True.
I'm a father of girls. I've got only one son. But my girls, I find, but I think that you can do a lot more if you also bring boys into the
I think
mix.
you're right. I think, I pray that this gets to a point where I can include, because you're right, even with our young boys, when my kids were applying to college, they didn't need much hands-on. They did it. They wrote the application letter. They wrote their personal statement. But I've friends would tell me, "Oh my boy, if I don't ask them whether they've done it, I have to be on them. They don't have the self-motivation as girls do." So I think at some point maybe I'll hire a guy to do what I'm doing, to interview men who have stories, so those men can tell their inspiring stories. But I don't know that I want to do that at this time.
Oh, that's a matter of choice.
Yes.
I
want to help my women out for now.
Okay.
For now.
Okay. Yeah. Now, on that same track, people think that most of the empowerment modules are being directed more to women.
Yes.
To the disadvantage of young boys.
Okay.
So boys are getting confused because, look at what your friend said about who the boys have done that. Because boys are more laid back when it comes to doing certain things.
Right.
Because they think that, it will be done.
Okay, think about this. Think about what you just said.
Yeah.
So you just said this, but guess who has been president? Men, right? They've had men in power, and clearly we probably could do it better. So now we need to empower these women to take all these male-dominated positions to make the world a better place. Because we've given you guys this seat for too long, and you haven't done anything with it. So we need to come in and help you guys out.
We haven't done much with it. No, not anything.
Okay, much with it. You know what? Much with it. You need more women. You need more women. To help you guys out. We're here to support.
How are you going to do that?
We're going to support with our being able to multitask. You put a woman in a place of power. It is so rare to hear that a woman in power. You hear it sometimes. Just took all the money and did this. I know sometimes you find some under someone's bed, but otherwise they do right by the people. And I do believe that having more women in government would be good, would be great.
I support that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But what I also want to say is that we need you.
To empower men.
No, not only empower men, but we need that critical mass of women to be able to at least show us the way. You understand? How do they do it? One of the reasons why you're here
I hear you.
is because I want you to tell your story to the people out there for them to understand.
Yeah.
Because your story is an extraordinary story.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I think that men have had it easy. You know, men don't have to fight. They get paid more. You know, a man applies for the same job as you, they get offered more, period. A woman has to fight for it. You know what I mean? And sometimes they're even nervous to fight for what is due them. And so I think men have gotten it easy. And women have to fight when we have to prove ourselves. I had to prove myself. I had to go for a daggone JD, MBA, this, that, and the other to get into that position. Versus a man can go with an undergrad and get it. Why? Why is that? You know? So I think women work harder to get into those roles. And because we're working harder, we're equipped with more knowledge, more experience, and we are able to do it best, I think. So I think that we have so much experience to get to the top that when we get there, we know what we're doing because we've seen it all. You know, we know what, you know, versus men, I think have had it a bit easier, you know, because they're a man. And I'm more power to that, but I just think that we are now getting there. We're getting there.
Now let's get back to the American story.
That's right.
You went to America. You found it relatively easy to settle into America because I'm sure you had relatives in America. And so when you went to America, you didn't have the problems with green card and visa and all that. You haven't told us that.
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right now, there's a change in the way migrants are being looked at in the United States.
Yeah.
And so, you know, last week I had a Ghanaian American here, and he went through a more difficult time. He went in as not as an illegal immigrant, but he had to fight to get his green card and all that kind of stuff. And he told us his story was hard. Do you think it's a very wise thing for people to leave Ghana? Because I talk to, there's an Uber driver who picks me up once in a while, and all he wants to do is to go to the United States with his family. All right. And, you know, I don't have the heart to tell him that. Don't do it. So I'm just saying, what kind of advice would you give to your people here? I know that nobody wants to dampen anybody's ambitions, but tell me. Because
I'm going to have to bounce this back at you. So this Uber driver, how much do they make?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's the problem. You know, I have a place in, you know, here, and I have a cleaner who cleans it twice a week.
Right.
I don't live in it. I come 3 times, 4 times a year, but he cleans it religiously, you know, and he is very appreciative of the fact that I pay him for him to clean my house, even though I don't live there, you know. And what people make, I don't know how people survive on that. So we need to do better. And you just told me that the youth don't have jobs, or it's hard to, so what are we doing about that? That's why you have the brain drain. People are leaving. You know, I don't even know what physicians make here, you know, but you go through all this schooling and you can't get paid what is due you, you're going to leave. You're going to leave. So there has to be a reason to keep these people here. I don't know whether the universities are still free. I think when I was there, it was, if I'm not mistaken.
They pay.
They pay, okay. You know, so if, you know, because if it was free, then really it would be a disservice to the government if people are leaving after free education. But if they're paying, then I guess it's okay. But still, you want to have a way of keeping them by offering them a little bit more.
How do you do that when we're not generating the income? I'm just saying.
Don't go there.
Cannabis.
Don't go there. Don't go there. Don't go there.
All right. Go
Okay. You really want me to go there?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, you guys had money. Wasn't it squandered? I just don't understand. You know, I mean, I'm sure in the States people squander money too. I don't think we're clean in the States either. But that you have to have some conscience. Leave some for the masses. Take a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, if I was up there and I have my beautiful house and I have my nice car and I get to travel first class and I get to get the things I want to get, and that's fine. But you don't have to be just obnoxious about it. That's mean. How do you even sleep at night? I'm sorry. You know, and so those monies could have been used for those people. They could have been used for those people.
This is ZFM 101.9. And not only has the story been told, the story has been elicited from our guest this program, Dr. Thelma Wright, who is also a lawyer. She's got an MBA. She does a lot of social and empowerment work. And above all, she's a mother. And she's telling us about, you know, being in America and being in Ghana. And her story hasn't been too negative, because I think you enjoy Ghana, don't you?
Oh, I do. Totally. I totally enjoy Ghana. Yeah, I totally enjoy Ghana. And I would love to come and live here. I would love to come and help. You know, I always say I want to come help. You know, I would love to, but I don't know if I can. If I would be able to get the stuff to help me help you. You know, I need the resources to help you.
But can't you live in the States, and I'm sure one of the pluses about the state is that there's a lot of waste, which to us is a waste, in terms of beds, in terms of certain, you know, things that you can bring here.
You mean infrastructure?
Infrastructure, yes, support the infrastructure in Ghana. And so I'm not asking, but I'm saying that
I have an answer to that.
Yeah.
I have an answer to that.
All right.
We do. They don't use them.
Why?
I don't know. We have groups in England, in America, you know, Ghanaian physicians and surgeons. We collect stuff to bring, and it sits. They don't use them. I don't know whether people don't know how to. We do. I could. If I knew that if I brought stuff here, it could be cleared and someone will clear it and take it to the hospitals and use them, I would. But I'm not going to put my energy if things are going to come here like incubators and no one will use it.
Use your influence also. So at the end of it all, where people are going to, the user, the end users format, you can get people and tell them, why aren't you using them? Why don't you make noise? Don't you care enough about Ghana?
No, but who is paying for the stuff to... You see how much it costs to clear stuff? No one wants to... I have about 10 boxes of clothes and shoes and this. I want to give it away.
Yeah.
They're like, I can't ship it. It's so much to ship stuff. So the stuff is sitting in my house. So I'm going to take it to Red Cross and dump it. You know, I have all that stuff. I could get stuff, you know, in the hospitals. And I'm not saying we want to send you expired stuff, but there's some things that you can use. You can use like gauze, and, you know, the expiration date is a scam as far as I'm concerned. And so, but who is going to pay? You know, will the government pay when it get? I mean, I could rally that. You know, people in the States want to give us stuff, even the ambulances. But you don't even have roads for these ambulances to drive through. So what's the point? The ambulances will sit. Because no one's going to who's putting the gas in it? Who's going to make sure it's in good working order? That's where the monies need to go.
I think that people like you with the influence.
Oh, but the influence, I have plenty.
Yes.
We need money.
You've got to engage those people.
Who are those people?
You just mentioned, I won't mention his name.
Oh, Victor.
I don't want to go there.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to put too much on him.
Yeah.
But you've got influence with him. Can't you sit down and say, put a team together so that we know?
He needs to be given the resources to do that. So if Victor doesn't have the money or the resources to do it, he can't do it. You can put him in position, but if you're not giving him the money to do what he needs to do, it can't happen. You understand what I'm saying? People have plans, but if you don't give them the money to do it, it's not going to happen. So they need to sit down and come up with, what are we putting for medicine? What are we putting for roads? What are we putting for this? And then give them the money. But if they give them the money and you're putting it in your pocket, then it doesn't happen.
Anyway, this is ZFM 101.9 FM. The program is I have a story to tell. A story's been told and more has been done by Dr. Thelma Wright, who is a doctor, a lawyer, a mother, a podcaster. She's a lot of things. And she's been telling us a wonderful story. Let's have a music break, and then afterwards we'll just round off and say goodbye.
It's amazing.
You're tuned in to Z 101.9 FM, your lifestyle, leisure, and business radio. Z 101.9 FM.
No money, it be my code. So when you see me rolling on your block, it be my code. Like a sickly woman, coco, in my code. I never the one that never worry you. My baba, they my body. I never they holler for my money, I call on my God. I never the one that never worry you. My baba, they my body. I never they holler for my money, I call on my God. My people, let me hear you say, be coco for my God. Be coco, eh. Wahala be coco for my God. My people, let me hear you say, be coco for my God. Be coco, eh. The matter be coco for my God.
101.9 FM.
I soto for my God. I go shokoto for my God. And I go de shocky for my God. I soto for my God. I go shokoto for my God. When I'm shopping, there's nothing I no go fee afford. See me rocking my Balenciaga for my God. And by His grace, there's no girlie I no go fee run. Be on a beat and I dedicate it to my God. Hey, I feel His goodness and His mercy. From New York to New Jersey. No matter what I want, I get it from my
101.9 FM.
I feel His goodness and His
ZFM 101.9. The program is I Have a Story to Tell. I'm your host. My name is Fritz Baffo. My guest has been Dr. Thelma Wright, and she's been marvelous today. We've gone through a whole range of subjects. Sometimes it's not only a story that she's told, she's also given advice and suggested many things.
Yeah.
I'd like to give a shout out to my little sister Audrey, whose birthday it was today, and my grandson Kamau, who's also was his birthday today. And next week, when I'm on the air, it will be my birthday, and I've got a surprise to you. Now let's get back to Thelma.
Happy birthday.
Thelma, it's been great talking to you.
Thank you.
I hope you have a wonderful rest of the stay in Ghana, and I wish you well in all that you've done.
Thank you.
And all that you're doing and all that you're going to do for Ghana.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
And for the world.
Yes.
God bless you.
God bless you too.
And thank you. And you know, because you didn't choose a single female artist, I've got someone from Wesley Girls. Becca.
You're tuned in to Z 101.9 FM, your lifestyle, leisure, and business radio.
So it's good night from me, and let's make a date. Same time, same channel, and don't forget ZFM 101.9, and that is the LLB, Lifestyle, Leisure, and Business. Stay with us.
Shed your time, yo. Shed your time. You made me so